Everyone wanted to be her. She was the one the parents talked about at dinner, the one whose drawings went on the front of the refrigerator, the one who got the exclamation, "Never the lovely two." She was the golden child, the favorite, the chosen one. And she spent 40 years trying to get out from under it. This is not a story about the child who was left out. This is the story of the child who was chosen, and why being chosen, in a family system that chooses, is its own form of damage. And what happened the day she failed, and what the family did next, she never recovered from. Dark psychology has studied the golden child dynamic for decades, and what it has consistently found is something that surprises people who grew up as the unchosen sibling, who spent their childhood watching the golden child receive what they did not, and assumed that the golden child had it better. They did not have it better. They had it differently. And differently, in a family system that organizes itself around a chosen child, means something very specific. It means that from the earliest age, the golden child's worth in their own mind and in the family's mind is conditional, not on who they are, on what they produce. The golden child is loved more openly, but they are loved for something, for their achievement, for their compliance, for their ability to reflect the family's self-image back to itself in the most flattering possible way. And a love that is for something is, at its root, a love that can be withdrawn the moment the something is no longer delivered. The golden child almost never knows this consciously. They spend their entire childhood, and often much of their adult life, believing that they are simply loved, that the love is unconditional, that they are safe until the day they fail, and the love shows them what it was made of. Dark psychology identifies the golden child dynamic through 5 mechanisms, all invisible, all experienced as love, and rarely recognized as damage until adulthood. The first is identity replacement. The golden child's identity is built from the outside in. From an early age, the family projects an identity onto them, the successful one, the capable one, the one who will make us proud. And the child grows into that projection so completely that they lose the ability to distinguish between who they are and who the family needs them to be. By adulthood, they often have never asked the simplest question, who am I when I am not performing? The second is conditional approval. Every interaction becomes an exchange. Achieve, receive love. Succeed, receive attention. Excel, receive identity. And the child learns this so deeply that they carry it into every adult relationship. They become someone who can only receive love as a transaction, someone who cannot believe that love, which requires nothing, is real. The third is the performance prison. Their place in the family depends on continued performance. Failure is not just failure. It is a threat to their identity, a threat to the family's pride, a threat to the entire structure that was built around them. They cannot fail freely. They cannot be average. They cannot be visibly weak without destabilizing something the family needs to remain intact. The fourth is the suppression of real need. They learn early that real needs are dangerous. Needs that cannot be solved by achievement make the family uncomfortable, so they suppress them. They become exceptionally good at appearing fine, exceptionally capable, exceptionally self-contained, and deeply, quietly lonely. The kind of loneliness that exists even when surrounded by admiration, because admiration is not the same as being seen. The fifth is the sibling mirror. The golden child does not exist alone. They exist in contrast. Their identity is partially built against the sibling who was chosen less. They did not ask for it. They did not create it, but they carry it as guilt, as obligation, as a silent debt. Her name is Isabelle. She is 42. She grew up with 2 siblings, Mark and Elise. From the age of 6, it was clear she was exceptional, brilliant, capable, easy to love, easy to praise. She became the center the family quietly organized itself around. She received the attention, the pride, the warmth, and something nobody named, the weight. The weight of proving the family was good, the weight of carrying her parents' identity, the weight of her brother's confusion, the weight of her sister's silence, and she carried it perfectly for 36 years. At 38, her company failed, not dramatically, Not through scandal, just slowly, quietly, like many failures do. 12 years of work disappeared, 41 employees gone, and with it, everything she had built. 2 days later, her father called. He asked about the money, not about her, not about the loss, not about the years, just the money. And in that moment, she heard something clearly for the first time in her life. She said, "I thought they were proud of me. And then I understood that pride is not love. They were proud of what I produced. And when I stopped producing, what was left was disappointment. And disappointment from someone you built your life trying not to disappoint is the loneliest feeling there is." After that, everything collapsed inside her. Not just the company, her identity. She didn't know what she liked, what she wanted, who she was without an audience. She had spent 40 years performing a self and had never built one. The golden child does not just mourn failure. They mourn the self they never had. 8 months later, she began therapy. Her therapist said, "You have been performing competence since you were 6. You don't know who you are without it. We're going to find out." And she said that was the most terrifying sentence she had ever heard, because it meant there might be nothing underneath. So she began again, slowly, awkwardly. She learned to be average, to not know, to rest, to exist without earning it, to say "I don't know" and not replace it with performance. This is identity reclamation, the slow dismantling of who you had to be, and the discovery of who you are without it. It takes time, a long time, sometimes a year for every decade of performance, and she had been performing since she was 6. She didn't confront her parents. She didn't need to, because the truth revealed itself quietly. Over 18 months, they still spoke, still met, still behaved like a family. But something was gone. The warmth, the pride, the way their faces lit up when she entered a room. It disappeared, without discussion, without explanation. It was just gone. And in that absence, she found her answer. Would they love me if I were ordinary? The answer was no. 2 years later, something changed. She started small again, consulting, nothing impressive, nothing worth applause, but slowly she became visible again. And as she did, their warmth returned, not fully, but enough to notice, enough to understand. She realized she had a choice. She could perform again, become who she was, rebuild the pride and receive the love. Or she could not. She could stay small, stay real, stay herself, and accept that the love would never fully return. She chose not to perform. Because the hardest truth for the golden child is this: the real choice is not between success and failure. It is between being loved for what you produce or living as who you are. Dark psychology teaches this clearly. The golden child is not the winner. They are the one who carries the weight. They are loved, but not unconditionally. Their deepest wound is not rejection. It is the self they never got to become. And their greatest challenge is this: to separate love from performance, to keep what was real and release what was conditional. The golden child's wound is not that they were unloved. It is that they were loved in a way that required them to disappear in order to be seen. She said something at the end, something she wished she could tell her younger self. You were brilliant, and they were proud. Both were true, but pride is not the same as seeing you, and you confused them. For 40 years, when the company failed, you thought they would finally see you, but they didn't. And that doesn't mean you were unlovable. It means you were never loved for what you needed. You needed to be loved for being ordinary, for being uncertain, for failing. That love was never available. And that is the real loss. Not the company, not the money. The loss is that your excellence kept you from receiving the one kind of love you actually needed. Tell me something honestly. Were you the golden child? Or did you watch one and tell yourself you were fine? Have you ever succeeded and felt something was wrong with the way you were being loved? Have you ever failed and finally understood what that love was made of? Tell me below, because this is one of the most invisible wounds there is. It hides inside success, and the people who carry it are the last ones anyone asks if they're okay. This is where it can finally be named. Subscribe for the next story. A person who kept the peace for 30 years until the day they stopped. And the family showed exactly what that peace had been protecting. I'll see you then.